Can you believe that a game with over 1 billion visits is now completely dead without a single player? Well, today we'll be going through 7 Roblox games that you have most likely forgotten about, starting with Weightlifting Simulator 3. I mean, when you try to hop on the game, you'll clearly see that the game just says unavailable, and even in the description it just says content deleted. So what actually happened here? This game was made by this developer right here, who goes by the name of Avectus, whose account is also deleted. He's quite a big developer, but many of his past games are basically just dead. The game was also made back in 2018, which was the first deleted Roblox game to reach that, and was also in Roblox's prime. So why did it get deleted? Well, over here, it says that the game was struck with a content deletion for unknown reasons on April 15th, 2020, but it was actually most likely because of Avectus's history of scamming a lot of people. He was known for scamming players and refusing to pay those who helped work on his games with him. He was also known for copying other people's games. So yes, believe it or not, but the game Weightlifting Simulator 3 was actually originally developed by a developer named Winter Soldiers, and was later copied by Avectus in 2018. He even copied more games like Weightlifting Simulator 2, which has 75.3 million visits, and was originally created by Axewhirl, and was also stolen by Avectus. I know, crazy right? Now this is where it gets interesting. Since Avectus kept doing this, developers formed some sort of Avengers alliance, and started leaking his game files, and also completely stealing all of them. This continued for almost a year, until in January 2022 it stopped. Why? Because Avectus got pretty angry with this, and if a developer gets angry, it's not going to end so well. So instead of doing nothing about this, Avectus decided it was time for some revenge. So Avectus made a new account which goes by the name of Scriptbloxian. Then using this account, he tried to go ahead and sue all of Thassy's Roblox developers, including personal information of up to 420,000 users, including IP addresses, real names, and phone numbers. Alright Timmy, relax. So he literally wanted to sue developers for copying games that he basically also copied. And with that, Roblox finally replied to the request saying that it was especially unreasonable, which makes sense since it would compel the company to give up the personal information of up to 420,000 users. So in the end, he didn't really get the revenge that he wanted. But either way, Avectus or Scriptbloxian didn't give up here. He still managed to put himself back up on the charts by opening up a new group named Scriptbloxian Studios, which has a load of games that him and his new team had developed. And most of these games are still pretty active and had great peaks in the past, like Muscle Legends, which is still his most popular game till this day. Even some of you guys have most likely played it back then, or still play it now, so I guess Avectus or Scriptbloxian didn't really even fall off that badly. Even though he had some pretty bad cases, he still came out of them in the end. But now this next game will probably trigger a memory in your head, and this game is Assassin. I mean, just look at it over there, with over 1,000 people playing it chilling there, with all the other big games, like Prison Life, Phantom Forces, and Meep City. I mean, it was even destroying Bloxburg. Now that's pretty crazy, and the highest amount of players that it's reached is over 6,000, which is insane for a game back then. But now when we fast forward to today and search up the game up on Roblox, it only has 44 people playing. Yes, 44. And when it hits the average amount of players in a day, it stretches down to about 13 active players. So what even happened here? You see, the game was made back in 2016, and the objective of the game is to kill a randomly chosen target while also avoiding being killed by another player. So yeah, it was a pretty unique idea for a game that was made back then. This game was made by this proud developer right here, who also leads the Assassin group. Alright, so now what made Assassin fall on its last strings? Well, believe it or not, it's not because it was just boring or getting too repetitive, but it was actually because of the competition. You see, we had games like Murder Mystery and Cat, which were also upcoming and dominating the charts. And I gotta say, I was a Cat player back in the day, and maybe some of you guys may think Assassin was better, which is fine, but in my opinion I thought Cat was just a lot more better. You could tell from how many more visits it got and how fast it got popular, but sadly, the game started falling off slowly and got deleted. But even though Cat got deleted, Murder Mystery didn't. I mean, this game was almost like the upgraded version of Assassin, and is literally still on top of the charts till this day. And with Assassin struggling to keep up with their updates, it began to fall down pretty badly. And some of you guys may not have noticed this, but the developers actually wanted to make another Assassin called Assassin 2. It was supposed to be a remake of Assassin, but instead redesigned. But this was discontinued due to Assassin already being pretty popular. They most likely wanted to make another version so that it could take another step in being a better game. So what if they actually published Assassin 2 instead of continuing with this one? Do you guys think it would have taken over their competition like Murder Mystery 2? Because remember guys, Murder Mystery 2 was made because number 1 was outdated, so if Assassin 2 was made, it could have possibly still been on the chart. Now Assassin was the town of knives, but this game was the town of the sheriff, which was wild revolvers. This game was probably one of my favorite games back in 2017. I'm not even lying. I probably started playing it a week after it came out on my old account, and of course this game is Wild Revolvers. Now this game was a very popular game in Prime Roblox, but the weirdest thing is that it isn't talked about at all, and neither has its downfall been noticed. I mean, if you go onto the game today, you can see that it doesn't even have a single player on it. Now this downfall was very mysterious, so what really happened? This game was made back in 2017 and started off well with over 100 million visits and created by this group right here. So in order to see how the game stands right now, we'll need to quickly hop into a server. So this is the lobby right here, and nothing's actually changed for years. The only thing that's changed is just a lot of bugs. I mean, it doesn't even let you go into a round because the timer's broken. I was even trying to interact with this guy and it wouldn't even let me press E. And of course, it's absolutely empty. So since there were no players at all, it was about time to leave. Now the reason they lost almost all of their players is because in 2022, their game was completely unplayable because of Roblox's updates, and these updates even affected other popular games like Ragdoll Engine, and I bet you forgot about that game too. But anyway, when you would spawn in at the time, you would just turn into a bacon hare, and you couldn't do anything other than walking and talking. But even after these bugs were fixed, the game still couldn't be revived, and from there, it was instantly forgotten about. I mean, the only thing I could find about their downfall was just this Reddit post, which said, "I was trying to search it everywhere, but I didn't find anything but what happened to Wild Revolvers. It used to have many players active, but now it's just 0. Did the game just get boring and people left, or did something happened to the game?" All of their fans after time were sort of clueless of why the game had fallen off and why the developers just abandoned it instantly after the bugs. Some may say that the developers have locked it, but we still don't know the real reason. Now let's tip into another genre and slip into Ragdoll Engine, and yep, this is the game right here. And no, this is not one of the millions of games that were copied by other people who are weirdly still doing well with these games. But this is literally the original Ragdoll Engine, which has over 1 billion visits, but is actually currently deleted and cannot be found. So what actually happened here? So the game was created by, well, let's just say Mr. Bean Guy, and this game was created back in July 2018. And yeah, this game was very popular back then. This game peaked around the COVID-19 times and was one of the most played games in 2021. So this is the game right here, and believe it or not, but many people began to start hating on this game because of how weird it was getting. I mean, this is one of the copies of the games, but as you can see, there's not so much ragdolling going on around here. And this person with a bald head wouldn't stop chasing me. Because of all of this weird stuff happening, hackers decided to start targeting this game and made it their mission to put this game to a stop. And I'm talking about hacks like this. They literally started making horror games in the game itself, which is kinda crazy. I mean, you could see that people are spamming in the chat telling you to leave. At this point, it was driving everyone crazy, and it was even jump scaring you every second. After this, things started getting even more worse, because in 2021, Roblox also had a major update which caused Ragdoll Engine to fall on its last string. This update literally broke almost everything in the game. I mean, even if you spawn in, you would just fall in the void. With this, the game was hacked, and the base plate was removed, making the game mostly unplayable. Now, after all of the weird stuff and the hacking, the game was finally set to private, with the developers saying that they're working on some updates. The update was actually supposed to be released in the same year, but was heavily delayed. Yeah, and I'm talking about a year delay. And guess what the update was? Well, you're sort of looking at it. The game name was changed to ... with the description just being gone. On September 24th, 2022, the game reopened and was uncopy locked. This basically meant that anyone could literally just copy their game and upload it as their own. So that's why when you search the game up, you'll just end up finding a load of games that were basically copied from the original. I mean, even you and me could do it too. No one actually knows the reason why, but it was most likely because the game was in its last chapter. Yeah, at this point the game wasn't really going anywhere, and this was the game's final update, as they had simply lost interest in it, which was pretty sad. The game has since been retitled Dumb Ragdoll Game and set to private, and of course this is where it is today. Even with that, if you try to go onto his profile, it's also been terminated, which means it's been deleted. Again, No one knows exactly why, but most say it's because he was trying to sell limited items and also tried to sell his account for real money since it was pretty high in value, but sadly Roblox found out before he could and then decided it was time for him to get a ban. But again, this is just a theory because no one still knows the real reason of it. But we do know why this developer fell off the charts of Roblox, who owned the game Cursed Islands. Now, Cursed Islands was one of the biggest games on Roblox during 2018. I mean, you could tell by their visits that many people found this game pretty good, but now if you type this game up, you can see that it's basically lost all of its players. So what happened to this game? So this game was made in late 2017 by a group called 7 Levels and was literally a hit from how unique the idea was. And of course, you may have realized that this game was very similar to another game which was called Horrific Housing. Even some would say that this Cursed Islands is actually just a copy of this game. Either way, Horrific Housing is still the original and the one that's still popular till this day. Now you see, this game was doing great either way, so why did it get killed off so quickly? You see, many didn't notice this, but the main developers who owned this game, and the group which were these two, actually sold the game to ROBLOX Games. Now at first nothing was wrong with this, it was still getting updates daily and everyone was happy, but unfortunately, as time went on, ROBLOX Games completely stopped updating the game, or even fixing simple things like bugs, and as you can see, the last update that they had was literally just a bug fix, and this was all the way back in 2022. So yes, this game was killed off because the main developers let new ones run the game, and as ROBLOX Games lost interest in Cursed Islands, the game was finally put to a stop and never received another update. But now let's move on to a game that actually still receives a couple of updates, which is Zombie Attack. I mean, can you remember playing this game back in the day and always wanted to grind for cash to get the minigun? Well, not to brag or anything, but I actually managed to get it back in the day. Zombie Attack used to be super popular back in 2018 with thousands of people playing it each day, but now, if you go ahead and go on the game, it can barely even reach up to 1,000 players. So this game was made back in 2017 by a group called Zombie Attack Official with their lead developer, who's this guy right here. And just from their visits, you could tell that this game was a banger. The aim of the game was also pretty simple. The objective was to see how many waves you can survive with a team without the whole team dying to zombies. If one player died, they would just respawn again in the next wave. There were also 2 game modes, which were easy and hard. As the waves continue, the harder it gets. And yeah, just from its simplicity, this game was a hit. Every day, it would reach up to 10,000 players, which was really good at the time. Now at first, the game was doing really well because of how active the developers were, but now the developers have literally gotten lazy. The only updates we get now are just seasonal updates, which is only Christmas and Halloween. Ever since 2022, we've never actually gotten an update that included a new gun, which showed how the developers couldn't be asked to give us better updates. People say it's because they're just lazy, but the real reason was actually because they were working on an upgraded version of Zombie Attack, which was Zombie Attack 2. Now this version was just supposed to be Zombie Attack, but a lot more updated and includes a lot more weapons that you could unlock. Like, these are some of the leaks that they had, and you can clearly see how much better it could be. But unfortunately, when they started the development in 2022, it was already put to a stop by 2024, and from then, we haven't heard from the developers at all. But now for this last game, the developer makes Zombie Attack look updated, since it's been deleted and never brought back with over 1 billion visits, and this game is Cat. And when I say I used to play a game, I mean, I literally used to sweat the game every day. Like, I low-key used to be on this all day without a break back in 2017, but when I realized a while ago that it was actually deleted, that turned into a very, very sad day for me. I actually just really wanted to hop back on to everything I unlocked and paid for, like, the shotgun knife, but it was all gone in a day. The game was still steady, and players were still sort of active, so why was it even deleted? Well, let me tell you what I found out real quick. So the game was made back in 2017 by a developer named Firza. As these updates just kept getting better, like trading, boomboxes, and targets, they began to randomly start disappearing, which is a very, very odd thing for a game to do. Things started mysteriously disappearing, and the first thing to disappear was the boombox. The boombox allowed you to play music by putting in a music ID and literally blast music around the map while destroying the server. But weirdly, a couple of months or years later, the Game Pass costed 100,000 Robux for some reason and labeled as broken. If you bought it before this happened, it would only cost you about 200, but even if you had it, it would have still been broken and wouldn't allow you to play music. Now, as bad as this sounds, something else also got removed, and that was trading. Trading was added to the game in 2020 and allowed players to trade literally anything they wanted, whether it was knives, guns, and a lot more, but then this was then removed in 2021, meaning it only lasted a year. Now this update was very short, and it was because of a duplication glitch, which players used to duplicate their knives and guns, meaning that the value of the weapons wouldn't really be worth anything, and that's the reason why trading was removed so quickly, even though it was a game-changing update. Now, believe it or not, but the last feature they removed was probably one of their main features, and a feature that was added from the very beginning of the game and left a lot of players wondering why they took it away. And this feature was targets. Having a target meant you could eliminate a player and get a lot more gems for the kill. Now, I have no idea why they removed targets. I mean, I even tried to do some extra research of why they removed it, but I just couldn't find any. So if you know why, let me know in the comments. So after they removed all of these features, the game really started to fall, since it was super hard to actually get gems. When you sometimes eliminated a player, it would give you +0 gems, which just shows how bad it got. After they removed these main features, they even started removing some maps. They removed so many maps from the game that you may have forgotten about some of them if you played it back then. And the thing is, players at the time thought that he was just fixing things or replacing them, but none of these things got replaced or ever came back to the game. So with their downfall being said, why was it finally deleted? Well, with Firza being super inactive with the game, and not even setting an age maturity, which is a requirement for every Roblox game, the game was put out as unavailable for players. Due to his absence from Roblox, it was put under review, and still could be under review till this day. It may not be permanently deleted, but you sure can't find it by searching it on Roblox. And from there, Cat was finally forgotten about. If you guys like this video, please do like and subscribe, as I put a crazy amount of effort into these videos, and do let me know if you remember any of these games in the comments. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.